Good afternoon, Steph. How are you doing, mate?
Doing good, mate. I'm doing good.
I've just realised with the Mario and Luigi, we're matching hats sort of as well. We've gone for.
I've even got I've got an LA hat, but
yeah,
take the A out of it. You got the Luigi, yeah. Yeah, I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well.
You're Mario, by the way. FYI, you'd be Mario in this.
Oh, fair enough.
Because of the height, because you look, the height, and also I think you look more Mario. I think I look more Luigi. I think. I don't know. Let us know in the comments.
the stockier build, fair enough, man.
Or Waluigi and Wario, maybe someone's going to say.
But I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well. Looking forward to talk about what we're about to talk about. But how are you before we get into that?
Yeah, good as well. Busy. We're recording on a Friday, so everyone loves a Friday. Partly what we're going to discuss. So yeah, end of the week. Can't not be happy. Got the Friday feeling. So yeah, ready to jump into it. Which, go on, Steph. What are we going to discuss? I mean, so much has happened.
Well, we made a video last week talking about, is this all right to see it out for the rest of the season? Contextually, it was before. I think we made it before the Roma game.
Yes, we did.
So obviously that result, which was a draw, which I did the live stream and the post match on. Relatively content with the result. Obviously, the performance wasn't great, but the result wasn't deflating, which is probably not gonna. I think coming away from that game, it wasn't as if actions required from the market because so and so was missing. There was still the centre back position, which is another talking point and will be a talking point for in the next couple of days. So kind of watch this space whenever you watch this video. But we spoke about the striker position in context to the rumours about Mateta still circulating around, and here we are right now, and it looks like he's our player, which is crazy. Swift development. End of the market has this sort of panic to it. Rush to get things done close to the window, especially when players want to push it more so from their end of all the willingness to move ahead of the World Cup. Which we can talk about the motives perhaps for Mateta and for Milan as well. But these things happen at this late in the market. But I think let's react to it really. But it looks like we've gone from us making quite a clear and obvious video at the end of the summer of not having a number 9 to having 2 number 9s now because of the January transfer market. Mateta, let's talk about it.
Yeah, 100%. No better thing. I mean, look. I like the player. I'm going to say simple as that. I like Mateta. I think we both like Mateta, but I'll talk about my views to start off with. Like, I think he's I've seen him twice live, actually, not just once. I've seen him twice. He's a big man. Like, you think Füllkrug's big, Mateta's another level of sort of strong hold up centre forward. So just on the basic, forgetting the mechanisms, forgetting the timing, which we'll talk on in a moment. Just as a player, I like him. He's clearly what Allegri wants, big player who can hold up. So from purely physical characteristics, great. I understand it. And we are also very aware that this sort of 30 to 40 million is the most that we're going to spend on any player, and strikers are the most expensive of all the players to buy. So therefore, that's kind of where we land for strikers, as you've seen with Santi and Nkunku, okay? The problem is we've now, because Santi's still at the club and Nkunku's still at the club, Füllkrug's been brought on loan. You've now gone from a position of having no strikers, right, Steph, in literally December, to having 5. And it's like, what's the long-term vision? And we'll talk about that again, and I'd like to get your view. So just purely on the physical characteristic, I like him. He is a bit streaky, but I like his characteristics. So I'm not like, oh my God. It's not like I was more opposed to Santi coming, to be honest, way back a year and a half ago. But Mateta, I don't think people are going to go, oh my God, instant flop. And if they do, I don't think they know much about the player. What were your initial thoughts when now, okay, he's not signed the contract, but he's close.
Yeah, look, I think, and obviously context that we're making this as Nkunku is still a Milan player. His future could equally out of the club. And that's what we kind of touched on the video last week. It was, it would only make sense that from a in and out perspective if Nkunku goes, because this, as too many bodies in a position where we play with two strikers at one given time in one competition. The rest of the window, it just would be a bit nonsensical. Despite the fact that Santi's out for a little bit more time, and we've got our reservations about him and his long-term future here as well. So I never really include Santi in the conversation, but obviously we bought in Nick, who's obviously started relatively okay and solid for us and got that goal, the winning goal. And then you still got Pulisic, you still got Leao. I think if we look at the player in isolation with the way that we want to play, for the profile of a striker that we have sought after for so many years, links with wanting to sign someone like Victor Osimhen. I'm not saying he's like that, but characteristics, and is the important point that we are talking about here, a number 9. And that's what we need and have needed for such a long time and not got. We've always kind of beaten around the bush, or perhaps, Santi Jimenez is a good example. We felt like we thought we got that because he's a striker, he's leading the line for Feyenoord. But when you really drill down, you saw someone that is kind of like someone who is like a number 7. He plays as a number 7, but he prefers to play perhaps a supporting striker role. Doesn't really get himself mixed into the physical element of the game. Whereas Mateta, to your point, 6'4", is a physical beast when it comes to it. And then equally, yes, he might be streaky, but most recently prolific. So if you look at someone like Nkunku, and I'll bring him into the conversation where, ironically, you have 3 players here that we spent 30+ mil for in 3 markets back to back, which is crazy to think about, considering we've avoided that spend as a club for that position, and we've always asked for it. We've gone from we've gone for an informed player, but he's not quite a number 9. And he started off relatively well when it's fizzled out because of the shit last season, and he probably carrying an injury at the start of this year. That's in Santi. Yeah. And Nkunku, who is a talented player with a fantastic couple of seasons about 3-4 years ago, but horrific injuries have led to poor form, and isn't a number 9 in a formation that we need someone to be able to hold up play and run the channels, and clearly isn't willing to do that. It's not in his skill set too. And then you look at Mateta. Okay, I mean, he's still in double digits this season, goals.
Yeah,
10 goals this season.
Yeah.
So top goal scorer for Crystal Palace. Really well last year. I think he nearly hit nearly 20 goals in a
bad Palace team this year. They're nowhere near what they were last year as well.
Exactly. Who have consistently lost their creative players in Elise, Eze this summer. Wilfried Zaha in the past. He's been there, and he's had to work through different periods of the side with having technically gifted players around him, or equally just more of a work rate related side that sacrifices quite a lot and still scores goals. For me, he is in form, and in his very moment isn't in great form, but relatively under the umbrella of the last year is in good form and plays the way that we want to play with a number 9. If I'm here to sit here and go, him coming in is exactly what I'm after. It's just, to your point, the context of the players around him in that position, your Santi Jimenez, your Nkunku, full Krug on loan, which isn't too much of a long-term plan there. And then you've got Leao and Pulisic for 2 positions. It does raise questions. And it is an opportunistic signing. Let's not beat around the bush there either. It is an opportunistic signing. But with that signing now becomes, well, obviously if it comes, and we're making this without the actual signature on the contract, with that potential and hopeful and looking like it's going to be a guaranteed signing, comes conversations on formations where, we've slightly touched on, and AJ is quite vocal on shifting to a 4-3-3. Now this changes that narrative, doesn't it? Because
100%.
You've now got depth. You've got depth up front. You've got wingers that can play the channels, including Salamakers. It does change things in that aspect, but at the very least, he comes in an informed striker, relatively informed striker, with the right profile that we want to play. And I think putting him up front with a Leao or a Pulisic is a recipe for success, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but, There's other things we need to get into, of course. We'll talk about maybe the potential impact for Vlahovic in the summer, other things. Conscious I spilled on for quite a bit there, but
no, you're fine. I just want, before we move on to that, because I think that is the important consideration that we're gonna be touching on is what's the long-term summer vision, because realistically, whether you think this is a push to win the league or whether this is a push to get top 4, I think those are kind of in and of the same, because realistically Inter is head and shoulders above everyone else, and we are the next best challenger, and I don't think even Mateta changes that personally. The question initially is, I think the formation first is an interesting one. I think you called out the characteristic thing is really important. His hold-up play is fantastic. There are conversations about his injury record. I don't really care that much. The reason why I say that is because we have signed a lot of injury-prone players over the past few years. Pulisic and Kunku, just to name a couple off the top of my head, but plenty more. Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And ultimately, some end up doing really well, some don't do so well. He's not injured at the moment. Get him in, not a problem. I don't really care about that, because for God's sake, you can get a player like Jashari who didn't have any injuries and is young and breaks his leg in the first week. Like it's almost like a non-starter for me, the injury thing. He's not injured right now. He's fit and he wants to play football. He wants to play at the World Cup. That's
exactly
brilliant. I just want to touch one more. I think the hold-up play is fantastic. I don't think this necessarily means we're going to change to 4-3-3 straight away. I actually think this double downs right now into the 3-5-2, because I think Mateta is ideal. We see what Fulkrug does, right, when he comes on. Mateta's that, but much better. Like, he's a very Lukaku-esque type player. He's fantastic at holding the ball up. And that is what we need with Allegri. We have a very deep-sitting centre-forward, focal point, who can then obviously ping the ball out to our fast wingers on a counter-attack, gets himself